As the attendant user, you have a couple of responsibilities inside of your call. You'll first come to the login page and add the credentials that have been provided to you from your call admin user. Once you log in, you'll be presented with the default applications or submission page. If you need to get back to this page at any time, you can click this button at the top right. It will either say applications or submissions. This page shows you a listing of all the entries in your call, 20 per page. You can sort these columns, or you can also do a keyword search to search for first name, last name, submission ID, or other criteria. Now, you have two primary responsibilities as an attendant user. Your first is to check in submissions as they are physically received. So once a user comes in with a painting or an artwork or something, you need to mark that submission as being physically received. And you do that by pressing this check in button. So let's say that this sample user has waltzed in and they now have this painting, so I need to mark that we now have that in our possession. You simply come here, select check in, and then simply press OK. And that will mark that submission as being checked in. And you can see now that submission gets this new icon, which means it's now been physically received. And you can keep the submission receipts if the users have those and have that on file. Now there's two ways to check in submissions. One is to click this button, check in, or two, you can use a smartphone and scan the QR code that's on the submission receipt from the users. If you scan the QR code while being logged in as an attendant user on your call's website, you can automatically click the checked in button without having to manually come in, search for their ID, and clicking the check in button. You can also search by submission ID. So if somebody waltzes in and I know they have submission 29 and I don't want to search through all these pages, you can just come up here, say submission ID 29, hit search, and it will bring up submission ID 29, and then I can simply just click check in and hit OK to verify that I do in fact want to check them in. And that's your primary responsibility, is checking in submissions as they're received. I'll come back here to the main applications page and let's take a look at your secondary role. The second thing you'll do is sell works of art. So if you have a buyer that wants to purchase a work of art and the artist has marked that work of art for sale and they've given that work of art a sale price, you can come in here and use the sell item. So let's look at this work of art here from sample user, and let's say I want to sell this to a buyer. You can select the sell item and that will take you to a page, give you the details, and then you can provide buyer details and sell and process the credit card directly within the system. All right, let's go ahead and sell this item just to demonstrate how this works. So I'll just put in here Andrew. For the email here, I'll just put in, let's just say Andrew at ArtCall.org here. And again, all this information is optional, so I'll leave it all blank for now. And then down here, I'm going to switch this to a cash. I'll say 55.00, and I'll just leave this at the default cash. And I'll go ahead and press purchase item. And you can see now that item's been purchased. If I scroll down here and look at that item, let's go find it. There it is. You can see I can no longer sell the item, and it's now listed that this particular entry has been sold. So that's your second duty as an attendant user, is to manage the selling and buying of items through the buyers. And the last thing you're able to do as an attendant is just look up information for specific accounts. Maybe somebody comes into your gallery and has some questions about a specific piece. You'd be able to come in and search for that ID and find any specific information about that particular submission that may be of interest. For example, maybe they want to know the phone number for the person to ask more questions or whatnot. So you're able to look up any of the submissions and see the details about those submissions, along with checking in and selling those particular items.